Helen Darling does a little of everything. Jane Albright's Wisconsin Badgers look to get above 500 in conference play. Junior LaTanya Sims leads the Badgers in scoring and rebounding, but sophomore Tamara Moore is averaging more than 16 points a game in conference play. And today the Badgers look to treat the conference leaders to a dose of Badger ball. Welcome to the Kohl Center in Madison, Wisconsin. Today, the 6th-ranked Lady Lions of Penn State meet the Wisconsin Badgers in our Big Ten Women's Game of the Week. Hello again, everybody. I'm Dave Eddett with my partner Amy Pritchard. Welcome once again to Big Ten Women's Basketball. Well, these two coaches didn't need to do a whole lot of advanced scouting to get ready for this game because these two teams met just 1 week ago today in State College, Pennsylvania. And Amy, the Lady Lions jumped out to a 15-0 lead, went on to a 68-54 victory.
Well, it was a tough matchup for Wisconsin from the get-go. Penn State is 11-0 on their home court during the Big Ten, and they're hot right now, 18-3 overall. Tough matchup. First 15 points of the ball game, and they never look back. Wisconsin did not score for the first 5 minutes of the game. Two very tough front lines at work here today for Penn State. Andrea Garner, Maren Walseth, and for Wisconsin, LaTanya Sims and Jessie Stomski. Well, we're going to be talking about these four all game long, and we've been talking about them all year long. All four of them have the ability to score. They're great rebounders, pretty good defenders. They're going to play off of each other and probably even out over the course of the ball game. Maybe a little bit less even in the backcourt, where Penn State has one of the best all Big Ten performer, Helen Darling, who leads the nation in assists. Wisconsin will try to counter with Dee Pate and Kelly Paulus. Well, here's the difference between a good team and a great team. Wisconsin playing 500 ball right now. Penn State very tough. The difference in a word is leadership. Helen Darling's got it. Dee Pate, Kelly Paulus have been struggling. Who's going to lead? Who's not going to lead? Right now, that's a difference. All right, well, we'll see what happens as you look at Dee Pate getting ready. The Badgers taking on the Lady Lions coming up from Madison. State Lady Lions for the second time in a week here today. Let's take a look at the lineup for Rene Portland and the Lady Lions. The backcourt, Darling we talked about, Chrissy Falcone, and three-point ace Lisa Shepard, who's leading the Big Ten in three-point field goal percentage. Maren Walseth, the Big Ten Player of the Week, and the All-Big Ten center Andrea Garner. Rene Portland in her 20th year at the helm of the Lady Lions. A record there of 454 and 154, a 93 and 33 Big Ten mark. She is a two-time National Coach of the Year. Her opponents today, the Wisconsin Badgers, the backcourt, Kelly Paulus, Dee Pate, the sophomore, Tamara Moore, who's actually leading the Badgers in scoring in conference play at better than 16 points a game. Jessie Stomski and LaTanya Sims along the front line for Coach Jane Albright, now in her 6th year with the Badgers. 107 victories here, a Big Ten record of 54 and 36, and a very impressive record at home of 60 and 13, including a couple of years in this brand new building. Our officials for this game today, June Corteau, Lisa Mattingly, and Dennis Mayer, as we get set to go from Madison, Wisconsin. Penn State at 9-1 in the Big Ten. Wisconsin even through 10 games in conference play at 5-5. Penn State has won the last 3 meetings and leads the all-time series 11-3. But here in Madison, Wisconsin has won 3 of the last 4, and the only Penn State victory in that span was an overtime win here last year by Penn State, 73-71. There you see the Lady Lions, whose only Big Ten loss came at the hands of Michigan State. That was 3 games ago. Amy, what are the keys to this game? Well, first key is going to be rebounding. You know, Penn State wants to run, so whoever wins the battle of the boards is going to have a head start. Second key is who's going to shoot it well. 31% Wisconsin shot last weekend against Penn State. Need to shoot the ball better than that. Third key is take care of the basketball. Penn State's got 3 of the top assist to turnover ratio players in their starting 5. They take very good care of the basketball. Wisconsin needs to do the same.
And Wisconsin has the ball. This is Dee Pate to Kelly Paulus, and here we go from Madison, Wisconsin. The Badgers not only got off to a cold start against Penn State last week, but again against Minnesota here the other night. They have played one game since last Sunday. Penn State was off this week. Here's Tamara Moore. Threw up a shot that Garner pulls down.
Tamara Moore's got 3 or 4 inches on Helen Darling. She's better off just squaring and taking the ball up over her.
The three-point attempt missed by Chrissy Falcone, and Moore comes flying in for the rebound. Stomski to Sims, and it will belong to Penn State.
Kick the ball down low, and I like the way Sims is going from high post to low. An open shot, but she's just got to pick the ball up and shoot it.
Helen Darling averaging 8 assists a ball game, tops in the nation. She also averages about 3 steals a game. There's Walseth with a left hand.
Both teams are trying to test the high-low look early.
Swatted away by Chrissy Falcone. 24 on the shot clock as Wisconsin will throw it in the front court.
Zone now by Penn State, changing defenses.
Now to Paulus for a three-point attempt. And Darling takes it off the floor. Numbers here for Penn State. Tried to dump it into Garner in the lane, and Moore took it away.
We talked to both Coach Portland and to Jane Albright before the game and said, what do you got to do differently? The first thing Wisconsin said is transition D.
Sims puts Wisconsin on the board. It's 2-0.
David, there's an advantage. You almost think it's to Wisconsin because they got beat so severely at Penn State. You wonder how up Penn State's going to be for the ball game.
Well, they're already well ahead of their pace of that last game, and they were behind 15-0 and missed their first 8 shots. Here they missed their first 2 before the basket. Now a fresh shot clock. The ball was kicked. Rene Portland, 24th year as a head coach. Walseth, line drive. Shepard gets it back. Garner missed the second half last week against Wisconsin with a knee injury, but looks to be okay now. And the ball will belong to the Badgers. The offensive foul called on Helen Darling.
Helen Darling posted up down low on Dee Page. She's big and strong for a guard.
Here it is.
They call the hook there because of that elbow, but I will argue this until I'm 85 years old, Dave. Foolish enough to put a body on me. Let me use that momentum and go by him. Hate that call.
Paulus. 7 to shoot as Sims gets it. Around Garner, count the basket. LaTanya Sims has 4. And a chance for a three-point play.
Check out Sims, and that foul's called on Garner because she's got the elbow in her back. Look at her left arm, she's got in her back. You can see that she's gaining space by doing that. You can never saw him there, but you can't push with it.
Sims completes the three-point play, and Wisconsin out to a 5-0 lead. There's Shepard.
Wisconsin's usually very successful at home. This year, they're not nearly as successful as home. What are they, like 4-3?
4-3 at home this year. They have won 3 in a row in this building. Last year, the Badgers were 15-3 here in their first full season in the Kohl Center. Of course, they always had a great home record in the field house. Moore the steal on the run. Missed the lay-in. But the foul is called, and it was pretty much all Chrissy Falcone could do. I'm not sure if she was called for the foul.
Well, if you turn the ball over trying to run an inbounds play at the other end, you're going to get beat down the floor. And again, to me, that looks like a pretty touch type of foul.
It was Falcone called for the foul. Moore, 76% free, 79% rather, 6th best in the Big Ten, missed her first free throw attempt. Moore, the 22-point scorer against Minnesota the other night. She makes her second, and it's a 6-0 Wisconsin lead.
I asked Coach Albright about how they're going to defend Helen Darling. She said, we're going to worry about everybody else.
Shepard missed from close in. Out of bounds. The ball will belong to Penn State. Darling to throw it in.
You know, Dave, there's an age-old question. Are you better off having a long week with no games, or are you better off playing? Sometimes you're a little sluggish starting out.
Garner gets Penn State on the board. It's 6-2. Well, Penn State has another off week coming up. They don't play again until next Sunday at home against Purdue.
You know, computers are supposed to be so logical, and it just doesn't make sense to me how it seems to work out this year. They've got 2 off weeks right in a row. They play Wisconsin 2 weeks right in a row. Aren't computers supposed to be logical?
Well, sometimes you do have to wonder. On the other hand, Wisconsin is playing 3 games in 5 days. They'll play again on Tuesday, again on Thursday, again on Sunday. So they have a very busy week coming up.
Can't tell you how many coaches I've heard say, hey, if the computer's doing that, give it to a person. I think we can do a little bit better.
In the ball game for Penn State, Katrina Carr, Jessie Stomski double team, lost the ball.
Anytime the ball goes into the post, Stomski or Sims, you're going to see a double team.
There's Carr. Darling at the rebound. Darling does a nice job getting the loose balls, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's a very good rebounding guard, over 5 a game. You know, you think about Wisconsin had both post players got 17 rebounds last week in that meeting, Dave. And I think the difference is the guards from Penn State rebound so well. They got the other rebounds. Post might have gotten those, but no guards got it.
Pate took it end to end. It was poked out by Penn State. 22 to shoot as the ball goes into Moore. Moore in the lane, leans in. And we have a timeout on the floor. 15:58 to go in the first half, and the Badgers are off to a good start against Penn State. 15:58 to go in the first half. Wisconsin leading number 6 Penn State 6-2. The Lady Lions have the Big Ten Player of the Week in junior Marion Walseth out of Bloomington, Minnesota. She's made some great strides this season, and last week in 2 games she averaged 25 points and about 7 rebounds.
You know, I got to say, I told you so. You remember that team we picked last year was the all get no credit team? She was on it, and this is not even reflective of the difference between her freshman and sophomore year. If you look at them combined, she averaged 15 minutes, but her first year she didn't play a lot of minutes, Dave, so she's gotten better every year.
35 against Michigan 2 games ago for Walseth. Wisconsin out shooting the Lady Lions 29% to 14%.
Too long of a pass to lob it. If you're going to lob it, it's got to be less than a 10, 12, 13-foot pass.
31, Rashana Barnes is in for Penn State. Walseth missed. Carr had it taken away. Here's Pate. Numbers here for the Badgers. Pull-up jumper. There's Moore for the rebound. Barnes threw it out of there, and then on the floor, Darling, Pate got tangled up, and a foul called on D.D. Pate.
Dave, you can't miss that many layups against Penn State and hope to stay in the ball game. I know it's early and they've still got the lead, but Wisconsin's missed some easy bunnies that they've created.
D.D. Pate out of the ball game now, and Candace Smith, the freshman from right here in Madison, is in, coming off a career game against Minnesota. There you see the early field goal shooting, 13% by Penn State. Wisconsin at 22%. Walseth 15-footer got it.
You got to pick your poison when you're playing Penn State. 4 players at or around 10 points a ball game. And Dave, they're 15-0 when 4 players score over 10 points a game. 15 games out of 18, that's happening.
There's the steal, Shepard. Open, the 3-point attempt good by Katrina Carr. And just like that, Penn State goes ahead 7-6.
What I like about their transition is that they have both guards out on each side of the floor, at the wing, at the 3-point line. They get themselves set. If you defend them, you're going to leave the post open on the inside. So transition is always going to be effective for them.
Moore, shot was blocked out of bounds. The broadcast rights for this event have been granted to Fox Sports Net by the Big Ten Conference. Any reproduction or rebroadcast without the expressed written consent of Fox Sports Net and the Big Ten Conference is strictly prohibited. I believe it was Rashana Barnes who blocked that shot, and it was Barnes who had 6 blocks against Wisconsin a week ago, a career high.
She adds another dimension to this Penn State team. I know they're glad to have her back after missing 2 games with her grandfather being ill.
Only 1 second remaining on the shot clock. Walseth will head to the bench, and Andrea Garner returns for Penn State. Smith lobs to Moore. Shot clock violation, Wisconsin. So Penn State will look to add to a 7-0 run here with just over 14 minutes to go in the first half.
Little zone here by Wisconsin.
There's Barnes. And Sims with the rebound.
Both teams missing some chippies.
Out of bounds to Penn State.
Dave, the player that makes it happen for Wisconsin is Tam Moore. She's 0 for 5 thus far today.
The ball game for the Badgers is Kyle Black. There you see the turnovers, fairly even thus far. Garner on the baseline, got it. And it's a 9-0 Penn State run. Timeout, Wisconsin. Jane Albright wants to talk things over as her Badgers have gone cold here. And Penn State starting to heat up. The Badgers looking to make it 2 in a row. This is a tough place to play, and it's especially tough, as Coach Rene Portland will tell you, coming off a victory over Wisconsin 1 week ago.
Well, I think it's tough, but it's a situation you have to be able to handle, and I think it really does test the character of your team. You know, you could end up playing somebody quickly from the Big Ten tournament into the NCAA tournament. You could really be put in an awkward situation late in the year. So it will show a lot of character, show poise. It'll show a lot of pride, and I do think that they're going to have to show that, because I got to believe that Wisconsin's going to come out today with vengeance on their hands, and certainly the crowd on their side, and their alumni group is here. So, you know, we're looking to go for the sweep, and that's what we have to keep in mind.
There you see the Penn State squad, 22-8 a year ago. Lost to Louisiana Tech on the road in the NCAA tournament. And looking for their 16th trip to the NCAA tournament under Coach Portland. A 9-0 run over the last 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
And in all fairness, it should not be a 9-0 run, because if you look at Wisconsin and the shots they've had easy chippies inside, have not put them down.
There's Moore. Sims, 8 to shoot, the skip past Stomski. Back inside it goes. Christy Seeger, the freshman, missed the shot.
Dave, she's playing more minutes at this point of the year than she was early on. In for her shooting ability, as is Black.
Moore couldn't quite save it. Kyle Black also in for the Badgers, who can shoot the three-pointer.
Again, these teams are in 2 different situations. Penn State plays a lot of people because they've got depth and experience. Wisconsin plays a lot of people because I still believe that Coach Albright's trying to find the right combination, the right skills.
Shepard on the perimeter. A bounce pass past Garner.
That's one of those you say, that's good if you get it in there, but she's going to have 3 people on her. You're going to say, Carr, don't give it to her there. Reverse the ball.
And there's a steal for Lisa Shepard. Intended for Seeger. Out of bounds, Wisconsin ball.
Some nasty passing angles right now, Dave. Need one dribble to create the angle. Can't see the target hand, you're not going to hit it.
44 is the freshman Ashley Luke out of Aurora, Illinois, Waubonsee Valley High School.
Rene told me she needed to get her more minutes in preparation for the Big Ten tournament. She said look for her to play more today.
At 13 against Northwestern earlier this season, a game which Penn State won 114 to 49. Little fadeaway good by Kyle Black, and that ends that 9-0 run.
Good balance on her shot. One of the few times thus far that Wisconsin has been squared and gone straight up with the shot.
And 3 seconds called on Penn State. The Badgers will get it back. 11:48 remaining in the first half as you look at Kyle Black get the Badgers back on the board. .11:48 to go in the first half. Penn State by 1 as the Badgers look to regain the lead.
Half-court trap here by Penn State. Notice they've been switching their defenses. We've seen man, we've seen zone.
Out of bounds to Penn State.
Against Penn State inside, you need to get that head fake, get them up in the air. Great shot blocking team. Show them the basketball.
Field goal shooting. Neither team at 30% in this game. And Wisconsin, for the second straight game, has started out missing 11 of its first 14. Shot clock at 5. Out of bounds to the Badgers.
That was a good defensive possession that time for Wisconsin. Solid defense.
Aaron Walseth returning for Penn State.
Anytime you can force Lisa Shepard to shoot it off the drive instead of getting a jumper, you're making Penn State do what they would prefer not to do. And that's the whole goal when you play against a great team. Force them to take the shots they don't like to take. Ball fake, diagonal pass. That's what you need against this trap.
Here's the skip pass to Sims. Black for 3. Walseth holds down the rebound.
Penn State's a really good rebounding team, and that's one of the things Rene wanted them to refocus on today. They got out-rebounded very badly against Wisconsin the first game.
Moore ties her up from behind. The sophomore Moore tied up the freshman Luke.
There you go. When you pivot or when you pick the ball up, you need to pivot, pick one foot up and move it. That might be an oversimplification, but most people just move the ball around. That doesn't get it. You got to pick one foot up and pivot. Defense can't get it then.
Possession arrow to Penn State. Garner put it on the floor, nearly lost it. Shepard for 3, got it. Lisa Shepard with a 159th three-point field goal of her career. She is second all-time at Penn State.
Get the ball to the middle of the floor and then to weak side. Tough to defend no matter who you're playing.
Paula's trying to answer and does.
Wisconsin's being much more aggressive offensively than when we've seen them earlier in the year, Dave.
We saw them fall behind big against Illinois and then battled back into that game in this building early in the year. First week of the season, 12 to shoot. Here's Luke to Garner. Blocked. Blocked by Krista Bird.
Gotta love that. The shot blocker gets blocked. You don't see that very often.
And then the foul call on Lisa Shepard.
Krista Bird is the first signee out of state for Jane Albright. There you see her get fouled. And they said she's the one that paved the way for Jessie and Stomski and Tam Moore.
Bird out of Owatonna, Minnesota. 4 out of 6 from the line on the season. That was the 5th Penn State foul here in the first half. Helen Darling returning, Rashana Barnes returning. Seeger heads to the Wisconsin bench. Stomski returns. And Walson battling for the rebound and then throws it away.
Helen Darling says, hey, it's okay to just give me the basketball. You don't have to take it in transition. Penn State's most effective in their transition when they've got their post out running ahead. The ball's in Darling's hands. Ball fake, diagonal.
Black to Paulus. Black for 3. Kyle Black has missed both her 3-point field goal attempts.
She's missed them both left. I think she's just got the ball. It's not in the pocket. She's got it in the middle of her body.
Wisconsin maintains possession. Tried to bounce it into Stomski. Walseth nearly took it away. Knocked it out of bounds. This time Black will trigger.
You can tell these teams have been scouted. Neither team's gotten anything off an inbounds play.
Here's Paulus. Heavy traffic, 3 seconds. It's rare you see 2 3-second calls.
I was just going to say about Wisconsin's offense, so they had 3 white jerseys in the middle of the lane. I haven't seen their offense that bunched up in quite a while. Got to spread the floor out against the athleticism of Penn State.
Gardner missed it. Barnes got it back traveling.
Now there's a chippy, Dave. You got him in front of you. You got great position. You go up and get it. You got a layup, and it's one of those, oh my gosh, I am so open. I hope I don't miss it. Boink.
Thanks for the sound effects. Penn State now with 9 turnovers. Stomski finds Pate. Pate got knocked down on the shot. Rashana Barnes called for the foul.
Moving the ball better against this trapping zone. Dee Pate in the land of the big and tall.
Pate at the line for 2 shots. Dee Pate, a 50% free throw shooter. Swishes the first one home.
Dave, that's the worst feeling when you see somebody coming at you and you're up in the air on your jump shot and there's no way you can stop it. It's like slow motion.
Second free throw. No good. Darling trying to muscle it away from Stomski and does. Talked about her rebounding, Amy.
Yep. And you know what we didn't talk about earlier was free throw shooting. That's going to be something else at this point. Wisconsin's done a nice job of getting to the line, but they're not capitalizing.
Penn State yet to shoot a free throw in this game. Barnes in the lane. Missed it. There's a rebound for Garner.
Like Garner, she does her work before the shot hits the rim. She gets into that position and bodies up.
There's Black.
Did you hear the crowd? Oh, as the pass is going.
Paulus. Pate has it. Turnaround wouldn't go for Stomski. Those are supposed to roll in for you at home, aren't they?
I don't know, but when you're going to play against a big, strong, solid team, I like to use the board. I need all the help I can get.
Andrea Garner with 8 points. Garner now just 9 away from the number 8 spot all time at Penn State.
You know, this Fab 2 of Penn State, Garner and Helen Darling are starting to get national attention. If you remember, Annie Myers-Drysdale wrote a nice little article for the USA Today touting their...
Last week, I believe.
Yeah, she's saying they're 2 of the best in the nation.
The pull-up jumper by Darling, and Wisconsin is going to take a timeout.
Good timeout.
As Penn State starts to pull away again. Another run here for the Lady Lions as they go up 6, 18-12. Helen Darling with her first points of the ball game. Andre Garner with 8 points. last week. She had 7 points. And again, she played only 12 minutes in that game, Amy, but I don't think she's close to 12 minutes already here in the first half. Here's Darling with a pull-up jumper.
This Wisconsin team is still a young team, and part of the problem with young teams is they lose focus and concentration. They, in the beginning of the game, were getting back defensively, getting on the boards, and what you've noticed here is 2 separate spurts that Penn State has had where they've not played transition defense and given up easy buckets, and you can't give up spurts against Penn State and hope to beat them.
These are 2 of the top 3 teams in field goal percentage defense in the Big Ten. In fact, Penn State leading the conference in Big Ten play. And there's a steal by Shepard. Averages about 2 a game. She's got at least 2 already, and she'll take a 3-pointer and makes it. Her second 3 of the game.
Jane Albright's done what she can though for Wisconsin. She's called good timeouts every time there's been a run, but at some point Wisconsin's going to just have to step up. Somebody's got to step up and start taking over some leadership here.
It was kicked by Walsup. A fresh shot clock here for the Badgers. And we have an official timeout. The Penn State Lady Lions have opened a 9-point lead with 6:10 to go in the first. A 9-0 run here for Penn State. We'll be back with more. Welcome back to the Kohl Center. Dave Eddick with Amy Pritchard. Penn State leads Wisconsin 21-12. And it was quite a weekend for the sports information director for these Wisconsin Badgers. There she is.
And she knew it was coming. It's Celebration of Women in Athletics at Iowa State University. She was a golfer back in the early 70s, and back in those days they did not give you a letter, so they brought all the women back that participated in all the different sports, and they presented them with letters. She got to go out between the Colorado and Iowa State game. 13,000 people, Dave. Standing ovation from the minute they hit the floor. So congratulations to Tam. She's still a pretty good golfer.
Tam Flarerup, the sports information director, who does a great job providing us with information about these Badgers. That's a great honor.
But you know what she and I were talking about before the game is there's so many women who participated in the 60s and 70s. Nobody's ever heard their name. Nobody knows of them. But if they hadn't done what they've done, none of us would be able to do what we do now.
Here's Pate the other way.
That's my lecture for the day, Dave. I feel better now. I've got it out of my system.
Very well said. The ball will belong to the Badgers on the possession arrow. In the ball game for Wisconsin. This is Leah Hefty, freshman from McFarland, Wisconsin, who's seen some increased playing time. There's Dee Pate going out. A 9-0 run here for Penn State. See if the Badgers can chip away at what's now a 9-point deficit. 3-point shooting thus far, 60% for Penn State, 25% for the Badgers. Shot clock winding down. 5 to shoot. Paulus throws it up, draws the foul.
Wisconsin's doing the right thing, penetrating and trying to draw contact. They just got to knock down these free throws now. The bad news is that Penn State, though they only have 10 players, they play them all, and they've all got experience.
2 shots here for Paulus, and the Badgers are in the bonus. Kelly Paulus, 80% free throw shooter, 5th best in the Big Ten. There's Katrina Carr back for Penn State. As a team, Wisconsin 71% from the line, 3rd best in the league. And Paulus has 4 points. Ends a 9-0 run, 21-13.
Wisconsin's much better in transition D after they score. That makes sense because you're not going to the boards.
Helen Darling, 12 assists 3 times this season. Right down the lane. Through heavy traffic, Helen Darling with her 2nd basket, and it's 23-13.
Wisconsin's playing her tight and trying to force her to put the ball down. When you do so, you almost force her to take the ball to the hole.
Wisconsin still looking for a field goal.
They need to slow down offensively, Dave. They're rushing themselves.
Just 4 field goals, 20 attempts. Darling from outside.
Hey, what Darling earned that. Moore played solid D, had a hand in her face.
Out of bounds to Penn State. So the turnover starting to mount. 11 now for the Badgers.
Score's a a little misleading. Check out the effort here by Tam Moore. Great stick by Helen Darling, but Tam Moore's got a hand right in her face.
Moore, a tough defender.
There's a gig against Helen Darling. It said she's not a great shooter. And some people say, hey, do you want a point guard to be a great shooter? I don't know.
Blocking foul called on Moore.
They shoot real well. Maybe they're not going to pass the ball as much. But Helen Darling, I think, talked to Cleveland Rockers head coach Dan Hughes about her last weekend. He's impressed with her. The Rockers have the first pick day. Right there's a conversation. Who are they going to take? Some good talent.
There's some great players coming out. That was the 4th team foul on Wisconsin.
Rene teaches that pivot, and I like it. And I can't, she's just got to do it center. But see what Rashada Barnes does? She sticks her hind end out. What you're really supposed to do in that situation is you're supposed to pivot, and you almost become a pick. She just made it a little too obvious. But I've seen Andrea Garner do that very successfully.
Second foul on Barnes. Inside of 4 minutes now for the half. Penn State with its largest lead. Stomski. This time the ball will belong to Penn State. And we have a timeout on the floor. Rene Portland and Penn State have opened up a 25-13 lead on the Wisconsin Badgers. Penn State has a 12-point lead on Wisconsin with 3:43 to go in the first half. Where do you go for all the latest and greatest information on your favorite Big Ten team or athlete? Next time, log on to the Big Ten's official website, www.big10.org, on the World Wide Web. There's Helen Darling with 6 points in the game. And to go along with that, a couple of assists, 5 rebounds. Darling does 5 double-doubles this year, points, assists.
Just thinking it's going to get to be about time where we got to start thinking about who's going to get Player of the Year in the league. And I don't know about you, but if I had to pick my top 3 right now, it would probably be Darling, Katie Douglas, kid from Purdue, and Garner's got to be up there. Who else would you have in there? Those are the big 3, I think, thus far. And it's all about consistency. I think that's the key component of being the Player of the Year. Penn State's got some kids that can stick the ball from 3. And I think in the college game today, you've got to have that, because if you can get people to come out and guard you at the 3-point line, it makes your 6'2", 6'3" post players that much more effective.
Carr now with a pair of 3-point field goals. Walson bouncing ahead to Darling. 2.5 to go. Wide open 3 for Shepard.
Dave, I think Tam Moore has really improved.
6 minutes and 50 seconds without a field goal for the Badgers. Hefty missed it. That dry spell will continue at least a little longer. Darling from outside. Helen Darling over the last few minutes has lit it up. 6 of her 8 points to make it a 30-13 lead.
This is where you see confidence starting to take over. Wisconsin's missing bunnies.
Stomski finally ends the dry spell. That was an 18-1 run. And finally Stomski gets a field goal. Just the 5th of the first half of the Badgers.
Wisconsin's having a tough time of matching up in that zone.
Coming up at halftime, we'll have our coaches' corner. We'll hear from both of these coaches, Rene Portland and Jane Albright. We'll look around the Big Ten. Some games already completed this afternoon, and we'll have stats and highlights from this first half of action. Lauren Walseth attempting the first Penn State free throw of the half. How about that? And she missed it. Walseth, 67% free throw shooter. Kyle Black, Dee Pate returning for Wisconsin.
There's something to be said, Dave, for playing on the road. Why is it that you don't quite get to the free throw line as often?
Why don't you?
Because they average getting to the free throw line 20 times a ball game. So think about it. If you don't get on the road, if you don't get on the free throw line as much on the road, they must really be getting there at home. That's probably why they're 11-0. Every coach will tell you that, though. A little difference in the way you feel like it's officiated when you're on the road.
Stomski. And for Penn State, Marissa grabbed the rebound.
You're starting to sound like me.
Why? What did I say?
Timeout
Penn State.
Grabby grabbed it.
Helen Darling and the Lady Lions walk over with 1:09 to go until halftime. They are leading it 31-15. There are the Badgers, who had won 4 in a row before they suffered back-to-back road losses at Iowa and Penn State. They'll play on the road later this week at Minnesota after a non-conference game here on Tuesday against Rice. And before the game, we had a chance to talk to Coach Jane Albright about the problems faced when you go up against this Penn State squad.
Well, they got on a 15-0 run last time in the first few minutes. We didn't play transition defense. That's why they scored all their points but one during that run. So we've got to run the floor, guard their three-point shooters, and guard their post.
Nice way of summing it up.
That pretty much tells the story. And, of course, they just had an 18-1 run. Field goal shooting. Penn State, twice as good. There's a steal by Sims. We talked about Sims and Stomski in the open. They have combined for just 7 points here.
And that's a great point, Dave. I think part of the problem is they're getting the ball to back to the basket and dribbling it, not going by the defense. And all that's happening is Penn State's dropping down and doubling. They're not getting open looks.
8-second difference, shot clock to game clock, 30 seconds for the half. Darling against Pate. Shot clock inside of 10. And now Wisconsin with a chance for the final shot.
Penetrate.
They won't get it. Darling. That's going to do it for the half. Wisconsin could not get the shot away. And Rene Portland all smiles. Her Lady Lions with a very impressive first half here in Madison. And Jane Albright, the Badgers will regroup at halftime, trailing the 6th-ranked Lady Lions 31-15. We're getting set for the start of the second half here in Madison, Wisconsin. Penn State leading the Badgers 31-15. Wisconsin shot a season low 32% in the loss at Penn State last week. And here today, the Badgers are shooting 20% to Penn State's 42%. The Lady Lions have only gotten to the line twice. Wisconsin has missed 5 of 9 from the free throw line. And Penn State out rebounding Wisconsin 25-15.
Well, you'd expect Wisconsin to be hot on their own home floor, but Penn State, let's credit them. They've mixed up their defenses. And again, that Wisconsin team is still young, messing with their minds a little bit.
They shot 23% the first half last week. Andrea Garner with 8 points in the ball game. And again, she missed the second half last week. It was 36-17 at halftime at the Bryce Jordan Center in favor of Penn State.
Well, I'll guarantee you what Rene Portland talked about all week, and that is rebounding. They got out-rebounded atrociously last weekend, and they're up 25-15. If there's one statistic that's key, that is the one. 10 of those boards are offensive for Penn State.
LaTanya Sims 2 for 5 for Wisconsin. 5 points, 1 rebound in the first half of play. And Tam Moore 0 for 5 shooting. Does have 4 rebounds and a couple of steals. So we're set to go. Kyle Black starting the second half. In place of Dee Pate for the Badgers.
Offense, they want some shooters in there. I like Tam Moore at point for Wisconsin. If she'd hit some of those bunnies early, that would have helped.
Well, there's some offense right off the bat, courtesy of Kyle Black.
She's a shooter. You can get her hot and get the ball in her hands.
We saw her shoot them back into the game against Illinois. Hitting 3 for 3 from three-point range. Walseth draws the contact.
I've been very impressed with the defensive effort of both teams. Penn State's done a little differently by mixing up their defenses. Wisconsin's gotten after it. Look at Kyle Black come over here and try to help. She turned her body sideways. I think that's why the foul was called. Just belly up, put both hands straight up.
Walseth 1 for 2 from the line. They get 1 for 3. What do you see as the big difference in Walseth's game from a year ago?
I think her offensive skills, her repertoire of moves. She used to just shoot a turnaround jumper when she was a freshman. Now she can do the crossover move, she can power up, and she can shoot the 15-footer.
31-17. 32-17 to make that. With the free throw added. Walseth poked it away. Numbers here for Penn State. Sims grabs the loose ball.
Dave, I wonder how many of the turnovers Wisconsin has are what I would call unforced. What I mean by that is just not throwing the pass away from the defense.
Good second effort by Stomski. It's 32-19.
A couple stops here and try to pull yourself back into this over the course of time.
Taken away again. Moore had 8 steals against Ohio State earlier this year.
Good idea by Moore, but again, you got to realize where the hands of the big kids are. Sims at 6'3" is not going to bend down and pick it up off her shins.
Walseth catches and is fouled.
Smart little play. As the ball reverses, if you notice, Stomski was denying on the low side when the ball's at the wing, and when it reverses, Walseth just smartly drop steps and pins her on her hind end.
First foul on Stomski. Walseth right back at the free throw line.
Nothing you can do to defend that. That's why it's important not to let the ball reverse quickly.
Tanya Sims grabs the rebound. 14-point Penn State lead. Saved by Black.
Dave, this is what I'm talking about. Sims wastes her dribble before she's square to the basket. Look at her. She puts the ball down, wastes the dribble, and then she tries. Now she's trying to step by Garner. I mean, she really got a gift that time. Square up, face the basket. When you use your dribble with the speed she's got, blow by somebody.
It's 3 fouls now on Andre Garner. This time I think it was Helen Darling. Or did they call Garner again? No, Lisa Shepard. I saw the 0.
Yeah. Hate to see Sims put the ball down because she's got such great speed. It really negates it when she wastes that dribble with her back to the basket.
Tanya Sims. Here's Rashana Barnes replacing Garner. Very nice when you have to take a player like Garner out that you can bring a player like Barnes in.
I think how close that was to being her 4th, Dave. And she was right there in the pack.
Sims brings Wisconsin within 13.
I think Wisconsin's just playing really hard on defense.
Falcone missed. Moore rifles a pass to Sims.
I do not know how that got through there.
That was a bullet.
She put some sweet spin on that. That's the kind of pass that'll make you crazy. One hand, she spun it and almost curved. We were like right behind it. Check it out. Good hand, Sims.
And Andre Agassi, forehand.
Get it on the highlight reel. That was sweet.
Sims right back at the free throw line and completes a three-point play. And it's down to 10 points now. Just like that. Foul was called on Darling, by the way, her second, traveling on Penn State.
Coach Portland here, you're thinking about a timeout pretty quick. You don't get your TV timeout till 16. One more basket.
Moore, too far for Paulus. Black saves it. Paulus. For Wisconsin, you can tell they are really picking up the intensity.
You can tell offensively, too, that they almost are over-trying. They look like they're rushing. They just need to slow down. And I get a tickle out of Tam Moore. She'll make a great pass, and then she'll almost throw it out of bounds. But what Jane Albright will say is they're always aggressive mistakes. They're not fiddle-proofing mistakes.
There's Walseth, the jump hook. Wisconsin ball.
Well, I don't know who had Rashana Barnes, but they got very lucky that time.
Darling takes it away. 4 on 2. She'll fire. Got it.
Hey, what great hesitation. Showed the ball, froze the D. Said, I'll take care of myself.
10 points for Helen Darling.
I think her game's improved a lot since last year, maturity-wise, but also I think her pull-up jumper is much more consistent than it was a year ago.
It's been consistent today. Stomski double-teamed.
Checking out this no-look pass by Moore. Always going to see a double team if you're Stomski or Sims. That's why they want Nina Smith to come back so much. Take a little pressure off Stomski inside. Get Sims outside a little bit.
Third foul on Rashana Barnes as Stomski hits the free throw. Should mention Nina Smith, the freshman, has been out since the start of the new year with a broken foot, but should be getting ready to come back soon. Timeout, 15:58 to go. Wisconsin within 10 of Penn State. And Helen Darling with a big game. Penn State leads Wisconsin 35-25 with 15:58 to go here in the second half. We'll be with you again on Thursday night. The Northwestern Wildcats travel to Champaign to meet the Fighting Illini. Hello, guys. Purdue
Are those bald
plays.
spots, Dave? Are those bald spots I see?
Purdue plays at Penn State next Sunday. I'll be with you from State College, and in 2 weeks from East Lansing, Michigan, and Michigan State, which is always a great battle and a little extra significance this year. Now here's a steal. Moore one-on-one against Darling. And Wisconsin inches closer. It's an 8-point game. First field goal of the game for Moore. Walseth. And Moore grabs the rebound.
I just think Moore's been dynamite today on the defensive boards. I like her at the point, makes things happen. Sometimes not always good, but very aggressive.
Moore, 7 rebounds now in the game. No look from Moore to Stomski. Field goal shooting, Penn State just 4 shots here in the second half, and Stomski makes it 35-29.
defensively. They're in that little chunky zone.
Shepard went inside. Sims redirected that shot.
Pretty good position there. Barnes tries to get after it. Check out this shot, though. You know, off balance. Alters her shot. That's what a shot blocker tries to do. Sims at 6'3" would make very many people change their shot.
Make me change mine, guarantee you. Latanya Sims, 9th all-time in blocked shots with the Badgers. Remember, she's still in her junior year. Stomski. You think Rene Portland is going to take a timeout here?
I think she's upset and probably won't because she is upset. When you got a team with this much experience, you expect them to pull themselves out of it.
Another steal for Moore.
I've seen her do this before.
Long three by Black. Missed it, but Sims all alone underneath.
Now we go.
There's the timeout, Penn State. This run continues for Wisconsin, and the Badgers, down by 16 at halftime, have crept to within 2. Let's look at Tam Moore on the defensive end. And
5'10", she can play just about any position for this team. She just makes stuff happen. Check out Penn State in transition. They're not matching up. I'm not sure if they knew what defense they were in.
Wisconsin's having a little more fun at the moment.
Crowd was waiting for something to cheer about.
Wisconsin had 15 points in the first half. The Badgers have 18 points in the first 6 minutes of the second half. Garner. Hollis picks it up.
Penn State's at their best when they get their shots off their offense, and what I mean by that is not creating their own shots. They've been trying to create their own off the dribble, and that's not where they're best.
Garner took it away from Paulus. Numbers here for Penn State. The pull-up jumper. Darling missed, but Walseth converts.
Got to get the aggressiveness back. I'm sure that's what Coach Portland was talking about during the timeout.
7 now for Maren Walseth. Moore, no look, flip to the baseline, and Stomski has 12.
Now, when you try to run a little trapping zone on a kid that's 5'10" and can handle the ball, if you let her penetrate, you're going to hurt.
13 minutes to go. Moving screen called on Garner. That's her 4th foul.
We always see that offensive pick called when it starts to get tighter to the end of the game, Dave. And I don't know if that's because each team starts running their offense like they should, or what.
Wisconsin looking for the tie. Stomski missed, Garner clears. How about the passing of Tam Moore?
Well, again, at 5'10", she's got good vision. And you know what? She's picking the ball up with one hand, Dave, and passing the ball. And what that tells me is there's not pressure on the ball, because you ought to be able to hurt her if she's picking it up with one hand.
Darling missed it. Ball loose on the floor. It will belong to Penn State. Grabby will come in for Penn State. Garner goes to the bench. 4 fouls.
And here it is. They're calling that she moved. And what she did is, when you set the pick, a lot of coaches teach you to roll. You got to keep one foot down and roll, but she kind of sashayed. It's a dance, I think, isn't it, Dave?
Something like that. Rebound, DDP. Ahead of the pack, Kyle Black. And Wisconsin has tied the game. And this large crowd here at the Kohl Center getting into it now.
It's Alumni Day, and they're all cheering.
Walseth puts Penn State back in front.
Big bucket. You got a high-low going. She's open.
Both Garner and Barnes with 4 fouls for Penn State.
It's a tough ball game to play, Dave. You come off that big win you've had all week off. One of those nothing to gain and everything to lose kind of games. Wisconsin's playing for pride.
10 to shoot. Sims with 3 to shoot. Off the rim. Paulus keeps it alive at a fresh shot clock. And now Black for 3. Missed it. Came down a little bit short and trickled out of bounds. We have a timeout on the floor. 11:13 to go, second half. And Wisconsin back in the ball game here in Madison.
There's nothing like college basketball. It's innocent, it's pure, it's emotional, it's got great fans.
It's all for the game. Keep watching on MSC.
Penn State leads Wisconsin 39-37 now with 11:13 to go in the second half. The keys to the game revisited.
I'll tell you what, if we look at this at halftime, it would have looked much differently. Penn State was spanking Wisconsin on the board at the halftime, 25-15. Who's hot, who's not? Wisconsin was shooting what, Dave? 20% at halftime?
Yes.
And turnovers, they were pretty even. Check out Kyle Black's shot, though. I've been talking about how she's been off short and left all game long, and there she is again. She's got that ball too far in the middle of her body, number one, and too far down low. Get it up there in the pocket.
Field goal shooting second half. Wisconsin is 9 of 16, 56%. Penn State 27%. A little less than that now with Shepard missing.
As long as Wisconsin stays on the boards, they're going to get back in the ball game.
Offensive foul. Followed on Tam Moore.
We talked about this. She's going to make an aggressive move either way. Pretty good call. She had position and moved with her. Remember, you don't have to be stationary.
Also took the charge. It's a 2-point game.
Kyle Black came to play today. Very aggressive.
Penn State will put it in play. Shepard catches and shoots, banks it in. 8 for Shepard. Penn State goes back up by 4. They have led by as many as 16.
Yeah, quiet 8, Dave, if you think about it.
Got a couple of 3-pointers in the first half. Skip pass to Moore.
Rene says she does so many other things well now, though, that she's valuable in the game, even if she's not hot. And you remember back to her freshman year, she was known as a shooter. Put her in there when they wanted points.
A career 39% 3-point shooter. Darling to Katrina Carr. 3-point attempt missed, but kept alive by Grabby.
Penn State's gone to this pick and roll more since Wisconsin's come back. They've been pretty effective out of it. Really what you're getting out of it is Helen Darling being more aggressive, scoring and looking for a shot.
And another moving screen called.
Number 41, Jessie Stomski, number 14.
Called, I believe, on Grabby.
Weak side. Weak side foul on a pick, Dave. Gotta love it. Away from the ball.
17 fouls on Penn State. Bird will shoot the 1-and-1.
Here's the million-dollar question. Did Wisconsin exert so much energy getting back in the ball game that they run out of gas now?
You see that happen so often. There's Mashana Barnes returning for Grabby. Bird with their first point of the game, and she makes them both. It's a 2-point game. There's Shepard.
Hey, what, that was a great play. They got her down low on the weak side, and Paulus gets stuck on the low side. Whew.
Pate chases it down. Stomski Blocked by Walsett. Moore calls a timeout. Tam Moore gained possession of the ball and asked for a quick timeout. And the Badgers, down by 4, will talk things over here.
A little more fun here this half, don't you think, Dave?
Certainly more fun for Wisconsin. Jane Albright has coached Wisconsin to 5 straight winning seasons, and she talked about how you stop Helen Darling.
Well, I think you just stop the people around her, you know, try to clog the passing lanes. Helen's a great player. She's really grown up in the Big Ten and has proven, you know, I remember when they signed her, everybody thought she was going to be a big, big catch, and she's certainly done a great job. Leadership-wise, there's nothing we can do about that. She's going to be a great leader today. So you just body up on her, try to keep fresh people on her, and clog the people around her.
10 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists for Helen Darling thus far. All the way in. Stomski missed the shot and is called for the offensive foul.
Jane Albright's such a positive coach. Chooses to just say, hey, it's all right. Nice move. You know, Stomski's lost about 15 pounds this year, Dave. We didn't see the foul in that replay. I think that's what Jane was saying.
She has scored 10 of their 12 points here in the second half. 10 of her 12, I should say. Barnes in the lane, collided with Bird in the foul call.
This is a great game for Penn State to prepare for the tournament, though, because you notice you're at a violent opposing team's home court. The fans are into it. You start to get a little nervous, and you see Penn State today here in the second half lacking a little bit of confidence. So these close games, I think they're good for them. How many games last year did Purdue win that were very close down the stretch? Prepares you.
No question, it makes you tournament ready. Barnes missed the free throw. The foul was on Bird, her first, and the 16th foul. Barnes missed the both. Out of bounds to Wisconsin.
This Helen Darling and Tam Moore matchup is going to end up being, I think, is a great matchup when we get to tournament time. Very similar type players, both aggressive and they hate to lose.
Tate the leaping grab and ahead to Paulus. Last year, Wisconsin lost to Ohio State in the Big Ten tournament, and Penn State beat Michigan State before losing to eventual runner-up Illinois. Out of bounds, still Wisconsin ball with 13 to shoot.
Penn State sits in this zone. Wisconsin needs to ball fake and diagonal or skip pass.
Bird goes out.
Jane's doing a nice job of keeping fresh troops in there. You know, I think that shows confidence to your team, too, when you're willing to substitute, even when your team has not been as successful as a Penn State.
3 to shoot. Sims fired from long range. Penn State brings it the other way as we approach the 8-minute mark. Katrina Carr. High low pass to Walsett. Shot block Stomski. Paulus bouncing to Black, who is knocked away. We have a timeout on the floor. 7:58 to go here in Madison. The Lady Lions of Penn State, a 16-point lead, cut to 4. We'll be back in a moment.
Hey, add it up. You got Helen Darling on Penn State. You got Dee Dee Pate, Kelly Paulus playing for Wisconsin. Darling's being very successful. But you know, Dave, that might be a little misleading because Darling, she hasn't sat down all game long, and Dee Dee Pate and Kelly Paulus been splitting some time with Tam Moore at the point and 2 guard spots.
Still, the numbers add up.
Yep, they do.
43-39, Penn State leading. Go Badgers. A cry here in the Kohl Center.
Looks like they covered something up on the left side of that sign. I want to know what it was. Did you notice? Blocked out. Censored. Censored.
Hi, Amy.
I thought it was Dave, and they probably thought I left out.
Black for 3, missed it. Darling trying to chase it down and does.
And you know, Dave, it's a matter of time before she buries one.
Here's Carr. A pull-up jumper on the baseline. Darling grabs the loose ball.
Her 8th rebound. A foul called.
Fouls on number 25, Latanya Sims, her second personal.
Kyle Black has missed all 6 of her 3-point field goal attempts.
And I'm not sure that's a positive or negative for both teams, Dave. You know, eventually she's going to bury one, and if she's a shooter, she'll keep shooting it.
Barnes will have another.
How many in a row is that, Dave? She's missed.
Barnes is now 0 for 3 from the line.
I asked Rene if she's lost anything having been out for that week and a half time period. She says, I don't think so. Come back and done what we want her to do, which is play defense, rebound, block shots.
Paulus wanted to shoot but couldn't. Shot clock at 5. There's the steal, Darling. 1-on-1 against Moore, and Darling got hurt. She's okay, apparently.
She's got a sore tailbone anyway, Dave. They were saying that she wasn't going to tell anybody anymore because people kept asking her how her rear end was. I don't know if you've ever fallen on your tailbone, but it's painful. Now watch this move. It's called an inside out. I think I've got that right, an inside out move, and it's where you show the ball like you're going to cross it over and you bring it back. Owie at the end.
Helen Darling, who is one of the top 10 free throw shooters in the league. That was her first attempt of the day. Darling now with 11 points in the game. 45-39. Penn State averages close to 80 points a game, 79 points a game. They are going to come up short of that here today, well short, it would appear.
They're 8-0 when they hold opponents under 60 points.
Sims, second effort, third effort. Penn State ball.
Barnes is down.
The Penn State players gathered around Rashana Barnes, who appears to be in a great deal of pain. Rene Portland is running down the court.
Can't tell where she got hit. It's like the leg, though.
Sims grabbed a couple of offensive rebounds and put them back up, and then Paulus grabbed the last one, was trying to keep it in bounds, and there was an entanglement under the basket. Let's take a look and see if we can pick it up. There's Sims.
Shauna's on the right side of your screen. There you see her. Can't really. Looks like her right knee. Oh. Like she stepped on Kelly Paulus. Ouch.
Barnes, a sophomore from Philadelphia.
See what, you rip your ankle, and what happens is, or your knee, and it's like this searing pain, and then over the course of time, usually it'll let up unless it's a bad one.
And again, Andrea Garner has been on the bench with 4 fouls.
Does it look like ankle to you, Dave?
Looks that way, but you hate to hazard a guess. But obviously it's not something she's just able to bounce back up from.
Yep.
Let's take one more look and see if we can see the moment where this occurred. Paulus, what was it? She stepped on Paulus, or Stomski got tangled up with her?
You know, I think I need glasses, Dave.
There's Sims right behind her.
I think
well,
she
it looked
stepped
like
on.
either Paula stepped on her or she stepped on Paulus as Paulus tumbled out of bounds.
They're bringing the big guys over to carry her off, it looks like.
They're working on her right foot.
She's not taped. You can tell there that.
She's going to attempt to get up now. Putting no weight at all on that right foot. She's going to be helped off.
Penn State's had some nagging injuries, Dave. They said that Andrea Garner had a hamstring, a little bit of a hamstring problem before she hurt her knee last weekend against Wisconsin. Helen Darling with the tailbone. Not a good sign.
Shauna Barnes will head for the locker room. The crowd here at the Kohl Center, a large crowd giving her a nice ovation. How large is this crowd here? 8,625. There you see the leaders in attendance. And Wisconsin right on track, right about their average.
They're losing some depth now. You got Barnes out of the ball game. Garner's back in the ball game with 4 fouls.
Wisconsin has already drawn more fans this year than they drew the entire year in Jan Albright's first season here in Madison.
Yeah. She's done a great job. She's so actively involved in the community, as are all of her kids. Give back. Wow.
Stomski with 12 of her 14 since halftime.
That's strength.
Darling has it taken away by Moore. Lead past Sims. And Garner cannot contest. Garner with 4 fouls had to just let her take it to the hole.
Smart move, and I'll bet you it killed her to do that.
13 now for Sims.
This is the change in times. You see more often now.
Garner answers at the other end.
The wrist defensively down low with Garner, and there's no help side to help out.
It's a 6-point lead for Penn State.
Back in the zone.
Poked away and stolen by Garner.
Get close, Dave, and they just can't get over the hump.
They didn't tie it. They didn't get the lead. Darling, and there's another steal for Moore. One-on-one on Darling. Nice spin move. Oh, with 5 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. And I'm not sure how many of Wisconsin's 12 steals she has, but I have a hunch she's got at least half of them.
She's got the size.
There's another one.
And the speed of Helen Darling.
Sims in and out. Out of bounds, Penn State ball. The entire Wisconsin bench was up trying to help the officials make that call.
Not the best place to pick the ball up, but Sims does the best she can to get a shot off. You make the call here. Pretty tough to tell.
6 steals now for Tam Moore. Her career high is 8, which she had against Ohio State. Garner missed. Darling grabs it underneath. Shot clock at 5. Shot clock at 3. Garner will have to fire. Missed it. Paulus grabs the loose ball.
Tam Moore starting to assert herself as this leader. Fun to watch, Dave. She is fun to watch.
3.5 to go to a 4-point game. Wisconsin looking to climb within 2.
Got to get their timing down. Kelly Paulus is running back and forth.
Stomski to Sims. It's a 2-point game.
Great place to penetrate against that zone is at a diagonal to the low block. It's almost like having a high-low play.
We approach the 3-minute mark. Garner drew the foul. The shot did not fall.
Penn State's starting to do a little bit more one-on-one right now instead of executing an offensive play. And there you see Sims just get stuck on the low side of Garner. Garner's posting up strong. Look at her just working, spreading her body out wide, balanced. Once you get in that situation, you don't have position down low, you're not going to get it back.
Pate replaces Tam Moore, who certainly has done her job defensively.
Due for a TV timeout here.
Garner makes them both, and it's back to a 4-point lead with 3:01 to go. Wisconsin hanging around against the 6th-ranked Lady Lions, thanks in part to Tam Moore's defense, 51-47. This game was produced and directed by Jim Corno Jr. Wave, Jim. Our facilities manager, Mohiam Ramsey, and the executive producer at Fox Sports Net Chicago is Dan Lafferty. I'm Dave Ennett with Amy Pritchard. 3:01 to go in regulation here in the Kohl Center. And the Penn State Lady Lions lead the Wisconsin Badgers 51-47. Last year in this building, these teams played overtime. And you cannot rule it out here. Second half shooting has been in Wisconsin's favor. The Badgers shooting 33% for the game now, 45% in the second half, and Penn State 33% in the second half. They're shooting much better than that in the first half, 42%.
Diagonal.
Paulus, a 3 from the corner. Black, the weak side rebound. And it's a 2-point game. What a break for Wisconsin.
Give her an assist.
Wisconsin has played a couple of overtime games this year. I don't believe Penn State has played one yet. 10 to shoot. Darling, 15-footer, got it. Tough shot, Helen Darling, with his shot clock winding down to make it a 4-point game. And a timeout taken by Wisconsin.
They wanted to get Tam Moore back in the ball game. That's why they called it.
With 2:04 to go, let's look at Helen Darling. You talked about how she's improved on the pull-up jumper.
Well, they did this against Wisconsin without Tam Moore on her notice. They did the pick and roll early on, and she was effective, and then they matched up Tam Moore with her from Wisconsin. Not as effective. You see what Penn State goes to when it gets tough. Garner and Darling in the pick and roll.
3-point shooting, 40% for Penn State. Wisconsin with just one 3-point field goal. That one early in the ball game by Kelly Paulus.
And they've had good looks, Dave. It's not like they've been forced 3-point attempts.
Here's Stomski, 2 minutes to go. Paulus drives in. Got it, Kelly Paulus. And it's a 2-point game again. Acrobatic move by Paulus.
Jane Albright's pounding her chest with one hand, saying it's all about heart.
Shepard to Garner. Got it.
There's no easy way to play Garner. If you front her and they make a good pass inside, you got to get help, which they did. I personally think the key is pressure on the passer.
Here's Sims. And the rebound call. Penn State with the ball at a 4-point lead. More pressuring Darling, trying to pick up what would be her 8th steal.
More smart about when Darling puts her shoulder down, getting both hands out away from herself.
Shepard missed it. Black has it. 54 seconds to go.
You need to push the ball if you're Wisconsin. Not that you have to take a quick shot, but you need to push it.
Leaping grab by Black. Bounce to Stomski. Finds Paulus.
It came off the rim. Walsh at the rebound. Black got it back. Blocked by Garner. Right to Moore. Hit the net out of bounds. Last touch by Penn State.
Wow.
There is a 4-second difference, shot clock to game clock, 31.5 for the half. Let's look at Black.
Good idea there. Stomski wasn't ready. And Paulus just rushed her shot a little bit.
Paulus to Black. The jumper. Rebound Garner.
Got a
21
foul.
seconds to go, and they're going to come
foul.
after her. There's the foul with 19.4. Fourth foul on Jessie Stomski.
Garner at the line for the Lady Lions.
Garner will step to the free throw line. She makes them both. Well, she misses the first one.
Wisconsin's got 1 timeout left, Dave. Penn State's got 3.
Still a 2-possession game here.
Smart move by Penn State. Press and slow them down. Don't want to foul, but you want to slow them down.
Sims has to push it up in a hurry. 14 seconds. Finds Paulus, and Paulus is fouled.
How about a 6'3" kid that can take the ball in transition? Paulus at only about 5'10". We always see her down below wide open like she's been forgotten about.
Paulus.
She's 5th in the league in free throw shooting.
She has missed 2 out of 3 here today.
Bummer.
The word on Barnes, by the way, is sprained ankle. Makes the second. 4-point game, 11.3. Not a foul. There's the foul. Paulus fouls Darling. And Helen Darling, again, a 76% free throw shooter who has only been to the line twice today and made 1. Darling, 13 points, only 3 shy of her season and career high. That's surprising, isn't it?
It is surprising. But you know, by the same token, that's consistency. I'd rather have that. I'd rather know what I'm going to get as a coach every night than get.
Darling, point game, 8.7. Here's Moore, 6 seconds, 5. Stolen. Stomski, 2 seconds to Paulus with 1 second missed.